All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Western Large Webinar presented by Future Peds Res. We're excited to have you here tonight. This is the first of our large program webinars, so we are making our way through and getting down to those large programs, and we're so excited that both the program directors and the participants are here with us tonight to learn a little bit more about what your programs have to offer. So my name is Caroline Maltese. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a fourth year student at Penn State College of Medicine in Hershey, and I am one of the co-directors for the Future Peds Res group for this year. I work alongside Stephanie Maeda. Her pronouns are she, her. She's a fourth year at Western University of Health Sciences. She's unable to join us tonight, but she works diligently behind the scenes to make sure these webinars are possible. And I would like to acknowledge our APPD faculty advisors, first acknowledging Dr. Michael Dell, who is the Vice Chair of Education at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, as well as Colleen Hughes, who is the Associate Executive Director for APPD. We would also like to thank our ComSep faculty advisor, Dr. Rachel Thompson, the Assistant Professor of Pediatrics and Director of Pediatric Undergraduate Medical Education at the Boston University Chobanian and Avedisian School of Medicine. These individuals have made tonight possible, and we are very grateful for their support. I am going to toss it over to our webinar team and have them introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ria Peralta. My pronouns is she, her, and I'm a fourth year medical student at Nova Southeastern University. Thanks for joining.
Hello, everybody. My name is Danielle Tucker. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm also a fourth year medical student currently attending Ross University School of Medicine. Welcome, everybody, to the webinar.
Hi, I am Victoria dos Santos, a fifth year medical student from Brazil. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheena Bedi. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an international medical graduate from D.Y. Patil Medical College, India, and I'm serving as the Associate Director of Webinars for FPR this season, and I'm so glad you all could make it tonight.
All right, so welcome again to everyone joining us tonight. We're so excited to have everyone at the West Region Large Programs webinar, and are grateful to all the program directors and assistants, as well as coordinators and residents who have taken time out to be with us tonight. Our series goals for the regional webinars are providing pediatric residency applicants with foundational knowledge surrounding the virtual interview season, well-rounded insight into the benefits of programs by region, and devoted time for live Q&A. We will be transitioning to our breakout room shortly. In each room, applicants will be able to learn about some of the programs and ask questions near the end. All the breakout rooms are recorded, so if you are interested in learning about the other programs that are not in your breakout room, you can check out our YouTube page later for the recordings. Before we move on, we will have the APPD representatives of the West Region states, Dr. Sai, who will give us a quick overview of some of the states included in the West Region area from the APPD leadership in that region. Dr. Sai, would you mind starting us off?
Yes, and Vasu is here with us as well. So let me share my, are you sharing that infographic, or do you want me to share my slides?
You can go ahead and share your slides.
Okay. Share, huh? Okay, can you guys see that? Let me double click here. Yeah, I know.
We can see it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. So I know that those of you who have signed on to the other Western Region small and medium programs have already met some of our chairs, but on the left is our Western Region APPD board. So we're excited to have all of you here. The picture of the map, obviously the bright pink is our Western Region. My name is Janice. I am the Categorical Peds Program Director over at Loma Linda Children's. I'm also a hospitalist here. So I do service weeks over at Loma Linda Children's and Riverside University Health Systems. And Vasu is on, so she was going to introduce herself.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Vasu Bavaraju. I am the Chief Medical Education Officer, a former program director at Phoenix Children's. I also am a pediatric hospitalist, and I'm excited to introduce you to our Western region and for your journey up ahead. Next slide. Here are the large size programs of the Western region, and the way it's divided up is these are programs that have over 60 residents. And I can just say by looking at this list that you'll have some fabulous programs to explore and choose from. Next slide. Go ahead, Janice.
So West Coast, Best Coast. So I think that our pictures are probably a nice enough explanation, but there is a lot of beautiful, beautiful landscape and weather. There's island, mountains, oceans, lakes, desert, farmland, and the mainland. So there's lots of variety in this region. We also have very diverse populations of both our children as well as their families. And there's a lot of languages, cultures, history, and resources represented in this region. So it's a really, really nice opportunity to explore both, interests both inside of medicine and outside of medicine.
And I'll just round up by telling you about some qualities of the Western region programs in general, regardless of size. First is you'll get broad training in a wide range of pediatrics, from general pediatric to specialty pediatrics. And as Janice mentioned, in areas that are very diverse, urban, rural, community settings. You'll have the opportunity to build skills in academic pediatrics. So whether you want to pursue clinical research, quality, have a leadership position, or practice really great medicine using evidence-based skills, you'll learn those during your training. Our region has a great focus on community health, and that means going out and understanding what the needs of the children and the families are right outside your doors and advocating for those. There are several of our programs that are actually located in the state capitals, and whether they're there or not, you will have the ability to serve as an advocate to really work with your local legislators and advocate for the healthcare needs of the children that you serve. As Janice mentioned, we have a very diverse patient population that I believe, have the privilege of taking care of and learning from, and that's part of your experience when you've trained in one of our programs. If you were to look at a map of the Western region, you'll see that sometimes there is a hospital system that takes care of kids and there's nothing else for hours and hours. And so these wide catchment areas bring along with them a depth and a breadth of patients for you to take care of. Our programs really value diversity and try to create an environment that's very inclusive for you to thrive in during your training. And we recognize that everyone has their own experiences that they bring with them and their own goals. And so your training will be individualized to meet the needs that you are exploring. We also are hoping to help you achieve your dream, whatever that may be. And so we want all of our graduates to leave their programs with a great plan ahead for fellowship or primary care or whatever specialty care they decide. We also all have a mission. I must add, there's a lot of medically underserved areas and medically underserved populations in the Western region. So we would always love for our graduates to stay and train within our region. And so with that, our region is very focused on supporting the needs and helping our trainees find that next location, whether it's fellowship or a job that will help again address the needs in our areas. Or if our trainees choose to train somewhere else when they leave, we always welcome them back with open arms to come back to our region and take care of our children. And finally, I think we all know that you can't take care of your patients well unless you take care of yourselves. So all of our programs have a really great focus on well-being and health of our trainees. So that's just a snapshot of what our programs have to offer, but we really invite you all during this forum to explore for yourself. Thanks for allowing us to come and speak to you about the Western region of the APPD.
Thank you, Dr. Bavaraju and Dr. Sai, and for your presentation. And this is a graphic of just all the programs that we have presenting tonight.
Attendees, please take a moment to pull out your phone, snap a picture of your screen so you can easily refer back to when bouncing around breakout rooms. The slide will also remain shared in the main room during the entire webinar. We'll now be going into our breakout rooms. Throughout the webinar, you can ask questions using the chat box on Zoom. Also can direct message myself, Ria, Victoria. You can also amplify insights or what you have learned from the webinar on Twitter using hashtag FPRwebinar and hashtag PedsMatch2025. We will now give everyone a few minutes to join their respective rooms. Thanks.
Center. So we do have a highest level PICU and NICU. Like Vasu mentioned, we are also one that has a huge catchment area. So we serve 1.2 million children in our area. It's a 364 bed children's hospital. And we actually only have 4 PEDS fellowships here, PEM, forensics, PICU, and NICU. So our residents do get a lot of autonomy because they don't always have a fellow on their services with them. Something that's very, very unique about Loma Linda is we are federally defined as both a medically underserved area as well as a medically underserved population. So we're definitely looking for students who are really passionate about working with the underserved and hopefully passionate enough to stay around and continue working with this population after residency. Our continuity clinics for both our categorical tract as well as our primary care tract are both federally qualified health centers. Some of the things that are cool about here, we do have some global health opportunities, so Puerto Rico, Malawi, and Guam, and our 4 different tracks. We have our categorical track, which takes 24 residents a year, our primary care track, which is 4 a year, our internal medicine pediatrics combined program, which is 4 a year, and then our child neurology, which is 1 a year. I'm going to pass over to Dr. Pina to keep talking.
Yeah, so the curriculum is very similar between the tracks. Some is more geared towards outpatient for our primary care track, and you can do more outpatient as a categorical resident too. But all of it comes as block scheduling. So you'll do 1 block at a time. Your monthly inpatient, you'll get ICU mock codes, quarterly outpatient mock codes, quarterly simulations and procedures and workshop. We want you fully equipped to be able to be amazing pediatricians in whatever community you decide to serve. You have morning resident-led conferences, noon conference-led didactics, which we're very intentive on making sure that you're getting taught while also learning while doing the job. So our noon conferences are done by our expert level faculty. Board review material with the board review content that is important. We want you to pass boards. I think everyone here wants to pass boards, right? Resident sibling families with chief and faculty coaches so that our big program feels really small. That's the intent, where you get a big family where you can like dip out on the cousins you don't like, but then you also have the siblings that you're super cool with hanging out with. You have no 24-hour shifts as a PGY1, and PGY2s will see 24 hours on their HEMONC and ward weekends. For our diversity initiatives, because that's like my bread and butter, we have a lot of really cool stuff. So DIME is the Children's Hospital's Diversity Include, Mentor, and Educate group. We do intensive grand rounds that focus on DEI components and things of marginalized communities that we want to incorporate into your education and we want to incorporate into our patient care. We do PROUD, which is pediatricians reading out loud about diversity, where our residents and faculty will have storybooks recorded. They read a children's storybook and then it goes on the Loma Linda Children's channel and can be viewed also on our Google site through in the outpatient when they're waiting for vaccines and things to be given to them. We are active participants in pathway programs like Pomona Health Career Ladder, as well as SHPEP, which is the Summer Health Professional Education Program out at Western. And then we started a pipeline program here in Riverside County in conjunction with the primary care track that was started by Dr. Jasmine Fernandez and Dr. Marcus Lowe, which are now our 3rd-year residents out of our middle school in Landmark that had our first like white coat ceremony, graduating class, and they're super pumped to do this again next year. We do health equity rounds, which is a med-ed portal education that talks about how are we like utilizing implicit and explicit bias to really changing how we care for patients. We go to AMEC every year and actively recruit. We've really got to step up our outfit game when we go to AMEC because we look real sloppy when we show up. And then we do fund underrepresented medicine visiting student rotations for MS4s, which we have 3 rotating with us this summer, and we're super excited to have them. Am I still talking?
Yeah, keep going.
Oh my God. So for resident wellness, we've got tons of snacks. Like I just had like 18 Sour Patch gummy worms before this meeting, which is probably what's allowing this to look like a squirrel. We also have snacks, coffee, drinks, new conference lunches are provided, including meat, which is like crazy for an SDA community. free parking, paid gym for your residents, spouses, children. You can opt out mental health services, meaning health services for all. You choose not to if you want to, and then puppies and provisions. We're located in an urban patient population in a suburban setting. We're like smack dab between LA and Ontario and Palm Springs, and you can go everywhere. An hour to the beach, an hour to the mountains, and an hour straight to nothing if you want. Whew, guys, that was hard.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your presentation on Loma Linda. All right. So next up, we have UCSF Benoit Children's Hospital Oakland Pediatric Residency Program. I invite your program representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining tonight. I'm Celeste Allen, I'm the program director here. I will try to highlight things that aren't necessarily all on these slides, just to kind of add some additional things about our program. So I trained here and have been in graduate medical education since 2016. Our program, fondly known as CHO, has an affiliation with UCSF, and we're a really unique combination of being a freestanding children's hospital with this affiliation, a safety net hospital, the major referral center for the area, and a level 1 trauma center. So this unique combination makes it a really wonderful training ground for residents. We have a very long-standing commitment to serve all patients. Oakland is California's most diverse, larger city, and this diversity is really evident throughout our hospital, the patients and families we serve. Our program has a long-standing focus on DEI and anti-racism initiatives, prioritizes diversity and training underrepresented physicians, and our patients tell us how important it is for them to have physicians who share their backgrounds. So we also have a very strong commitment to physicians who are interested in working with under-resourced families and patients. We have a long-standing longitudinal curriculum and cultural humility that was a concept developed in our hospital, so it's very ingrained in how we teach and what we do. A little bit about our structure. So intern year is really a focus on core inpatient and outpatient rotations, which is kind of setting a foundation and then building upon it in your second and third year with individualized curriculum. We have early frontline exposure to the wards, to NICU, PICU, emergency room, and core outpatient rotations along with subspecialties. And these exposures, I think, early on really help people identify where they want to go. And there's a lot of faculty support to help mentor them in that. 70% of our admissions come through our emergency room. So residents get to see the patient story from the beginning and build really strong diagnostic and clinical reasoning skills. We have something called CAP, which is Community Advocacy and Pediatric Leadership. And that's a curriculum that's woven through your 3 years of training. So you get to do things like go into the community, work with community partners, be very involved in our school-based health clinics, integrative medicine, gender care, racially concordant care, ACEs and resiliency work, juvenile justice. We have a pediatric asylum clinic and a Center for Excellence in Immigrant Health and Wellbeing. So a lot of really wonderful opportunities to kind of inspire things in you. We have an inpatient rehab center, which is great for the residents. They get to see patients in that setting, inpatient and outpatient. And then our continuity clinic, similar to Loma Linda, we have in our primary care center, which is an FQHC. And our residents have regular clinic. They tell us that's really important to them so that they get to follow up with their patients frequently. It allows them to discharge patients from the emergency room, from the inpatient services, from the NICU to follow up on their panel. And there's a lot of really good continuity between the inpatient and outpatient world. Scholarly concentrations, we have examples on our website. There's ways to decide what type of scholarly concentrations you might like to have, and examples and ways you can sort of individualize your curriculum with support. We don't have very many fellows only in kind of key areas. So our residents do have a lot of autonomy and access to procedures. Our residents are very active. They kind of blow our minds all the time with innovative things they're doing. They have time if they're interested in doing community and advocacy work, QI, research projects. All of that's not necessarily required, but a lot of our residents take opportunities to be involved with faculty and community partners. We have a big focus on resident well-being, and our house staff meet regularly and connect with us and work together to improve our program. We clinically work, as our program directors all work clinically with the residents a lot, so we're very accessible to them. We have a big well-being focus here. We have a resident-led well-being committee with a lot of different resident well-being events. I would say CHO has a very family feel to it. Residents are all part of a mentor family and also have big and little siblings. So there's a lot of support throughout their training with a big, robust alumni network that supports them in terms of figuring out like career plans, et cetera. I think those are the highlights of things I wanted to kind of highlight in addition to what's in our slides, and welcome all of your questions. Obviously, the Bay Area, we're biased, is a really great place to live. There's so much to do, and I think our residents make the most of it when they have time to do things in Oakland and the surrounding areas.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen, for presenting on your program. All right, next up, we have UCLA David Geffen, UCLA Medical Center. I invite your program representative to go ahead, unmute, and tell us about your program.
Hi guys, I'm Alan Chin. I am the program director here at UCLA. I'm a pediatric hospitalist that works in our hospital. This is my 9th year as program director, so it feels like seeing all the different things that are going on here. So I think important things that I'll highlight for our program. We are a large program. I often talk about, there's really 2 ways to kind of manage a large pediatric residency program. You're either a freestanding children's hospital or you're a multi-site training program. And we are the latter. We're a multi-site training program. I think the important thing for me is the concept as to why we're a multi-site training program. I think every single one of our sites is one that brings a particular strength to our program. Not that they just have to create a whole for every resident. They do, but each one does something different that I don't think they could do anywhere else. And I think that's the beauty of kind of having that opportunity. Like, for example, our main site at the UCLA Medical Center, we have the 3rd and 5th floor. It's entirely dedicated to pediatrics. We are housed pediatrics within a larger academic health center that sits on top of a main UCLA campus. So we have huge opportunities to kind of do work with our adult colleagues to kind of bridge those gaps, to even work in epidemiology, in the School of Public Health. We've had partnerships in the School of Dentistry and Nursing, which are all across the street. So literally all within kind of walking distance. If you're interested in doing research in QI and doing any kind of additional scholarship, those resources are really right around the corner. And I will tell you, our faculty, our fellows, even our residents who do research, they love being able to kind of go to their lab, which is literally 5 minutes away by walking, right outside the hospital. And it gives us a lot of opportunities there. We are one of the most highly complex quaternary care centers in the nation. When you look at the case mix index for all children's hospital networks, our main UCLA site is the top of complexity out of the 45 different children's hospitals there. Now, obviously, I recognize that that shouldn't be the only thing that our residents do, which is why the strengths in our other sites are so important. Right? We work at Olive View Medical Center, which is at LA County Safety Net Hospital in Sylmar, a rural, underserved, primary Spanish-speaking immigrant population that we're really proud to serve. We work at Miller's Children's Hospital, which is a freestanding children's hospital not associated with any one pediatric residency program, not one university. If you see our colleagues at UCI Chalk, they actually also rotate at that site. So it's a huge opportunity to actually see different things and work with different residents. In a patient population, again, a large urban underserved patient population in Long Beach, it allows us to kind of really take care of those patients in bread and butter pediatrics. Inpatient wards, pediatric ER rotations, and our newborn nursery and delivery care experiences are all held there. Our last site, Santa Monica UCLA, it's a hospital owned by UCLA, but more in a community setting. And it specializes in things like orthopedic care for children. And it's actually built upon our orthopedic specialty hospital. And so it really gives you that extra experience in MSK care and fractures. We do spinal fusion surgeries and other things that really benefit our residents from getting that experience. I think the other highlights I would kind of point out is we have a 4+1 X+Y schedule. I think that's a little bit different than who we've talked to before. This really allows us to kind of have that balance between core, mostly inpatient rotations, always with the 5th week that's balanced with outpatient. Our +1 weeks are completely outpatient. It's your continuity clinics, outpatient subspecialties, the full weekend off. So you have that regular part of that schedule as part of kind of what you do. It also gives you time to individualize. So you don't have to kind of squeeze that into kind of these inpatient or core rotations. You can have that time. We have a half day admin time that really allows you to kind of do sort of whatever you'd like in each of one of those +1 weeks. We do have curricular individualized tracks. So primary care and public health, global health, hospital and fellowship tracks, and a physician scientist track. Everybody kind of selects into mostly in their second year. And you have guidance through kind of mentors or otherwise. We have a number of diversity initiatives from our top down, all the way from our health system, all the way down through into our program, run individual sections, whether that's our full department JEDI committee or our pediatric residency diversity committee that started all the way back in 2008. We do have a visiting elective program to support those, and we do a lot of outreach, always starting out with students. We just finished our Eve and Jean Black student rotations with our high school students just last week. So really excited to kind of be part of that outreach and be involved there. You know, you can read the rest of it here. I think so. I think location says a lot. I love Los Angeles. You know, it's not the right place for every single person, but I love it. It's some things that I love the outdoor activities. I love the cuisine, the food. I'm a foodie. I love kind of going to kind of different kind of restaurants. I love the arts and culture. I'm a kid at heart, but also I have 2 young kids. And so being close to Disneyland and Universal Studios and kind of just taking them, I took them on Sunday to Universal Studios. Having that opportunity has been great.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Chin, for a wonderful presentation. All right, next up, we have Stanford Pediatrics Residency Program. I invite your program representative to go ahead, unmute, and tell us about your program.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Lakshmi Yamane. I'm one of the associate program directors for our PEDS residency, and I'm here with Lakshmi, who's one of our chief residents as well. And I think similar to everyone else, I'll try to just focus in on highlighting kind of things that are unique or distinct about our program. I think what's really core and important to us is our vision is really developing outstanding clinicians and leaders in children's health. And what people are leaders in is anything they are passionate and interested in. We're not a program that kind of has like cookie cutter, everybody does the same thing. It's really what are you passionate and interested in, and how do we help you develop those skills? And so what our residents go on to do are all kinds of different things in specialties and population health and industry, all sorts of things. So that's something I think that is really unique for us. In terms of clinical training, we are a freestanding children's hospital in the picture behind me, and also attached to the adult Stanford Hospital. So we sit on Stanford campus, which actually really allows for a lot of collaboration and unique opportunities. So being a freestanding children's hospital, we are tertiary, quaternary, you will see anything and everything. And we are also our kind of just local community hospital for the surrounding clinic. I'm a general pediatrician at a FQHC, and all of my patients get admitted to our hospital. So you will get amazing training in whatever it is that you're interested in. So that's our primary clinical site. We also are kind of second biggest site is Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, which is the county hospital in San Jose, where our residents rotate both on the inpatient service, kind of, you know, hospice wards, there's small PICU, some in the well baby nursery there, and then our urgent care clinic. Again, slightly different patient population and is just one of the most special parts of our program as well. So again, you'll get an amazing clinical training, all that good stuff. We have tons of fellowships. Many of our residents stay on for fellowship. In terms of what residents do after, we're about a 50-50 mix that go into kind of primary care versus fellowships. And I think the things that are unique about our curriculum is we have a XYZ. You might be hearing this a lot more across the country in terms of different models of X and Y, but essentially just how it's framed in terms of having inpatient rotations where maybe you don't have continuity clinic, for example, and then on your outpatient rotations, you double up. And so we kind of try to do a balance of a mix of in and out patient rotations. We are a fairly large program. We take 39 residents per year. The biggest is our categorical program with 25. And then we also have child neurology, our physician scientist track, combined peds medical genetics, anesthesia, and triple board as of last year. And something else that's very unique about our program is all of our residents participate in scholarly concentration. So to the point I mentioned earlier, everybody doesn't do the same thing. So we have 6 concentrations for people to do whatever it is that they're interested in. Also a unique feature is we were the first program in the country to have a coaching program. So that is a faculty that follows you across all 3 years for your own kind of formative development. They see you in the hospital, they see you in clinic, they see you at a care conference, at sign out. So really, again, to focus on kind of your longitudinal growth over training. And then for diversity, we have a lot of different initiatives. We are a program that really values diversity, equity, inclusion. Every year, we have over 20% of our residents that are underrepresented in medicine. And we have a LEAD program, which is Leadership Education and Advancing Diversity. It's a 10-month longitudinal leadership program that we created in pediatrics going on 8 years ago, and it's now in its 5th year across our entire GME. And it's really to develop leadership and scholarship skills in DEI. And then we also have a lot of, at our department level, health equity advanced through learning. And so, as you all know, many students, residents, fellows, they know a lot about DEI and health equity, and our faculty and staff may not know as much. And so we do a lot to do learning for everyone, so that we are all using the same language and have the same knowledge about the things to best care for our patients. We also have a residency council as a whole that has representatives across all of our classes like PGY 1 through 3, as well as all of our tracks and including DI reps. And they meet monthly to help us think about ways to tackle some challenging problems in the residency so we can better take care of patients and optimize our education. We also have an advocacy council. We have an Office of Diversity and Medical Education that's across the entire School of Medicine. I'm the Assistant Dean for Diversity. So our department is really active in that, but we really do a lot of work across the entire school, whether it's pathway programs. We have a really robust underrepresented in medicine funded clerkship. I think those are the big things I would highlight. And I think the other that I'm sure we would all say are the people. At the end of the day, like, you want to find a program where you feel like you're going to thrive. And this, I came here from Texas a long time ago to be a resident and never left. So.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Yamane, for presenting on your program. All right, next up we have UCSF Pediatrics. I invite your program representative to go ahead, unmute, and tell us about your program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Fernandez, and I'm one of the Associate Program Directors at UCSF, and I feel so honored to be here. These are such fantastic programs, so I'm actually really excited for all of the applicants that are in the audience, and I'm reflecting back on, remembering what it was like for me to go through the similar process. So enjoy it, because it's an exciting time of transition for you. I'll just say a few things to let you get to know me a little bit. So I am a primary care pediatrician. I'm all outpatient, and I know the UCSF program inside and out because I trained here myself as an intern and a resident. I also did my chief year here, and then 8 hours after my chief year, I started on the faculty and have been doing lots of medical education work, both with medical students who are applying PEDS as well as in the residency program. And so I'm very happy to answer any questions that you all have about UCSF, but I will simply say that the reason that I've been here for my entire training and career is because I feel very inspired by the people that I work with, and similarly inspired by all of you here. But I think it's really wonderful to find a place where people feel like they can constantly question what they're doing and strive for the most ideal care for our patients, the most ideal care for our caregivers, for all of our providers, and the best training that we can afford for everyone. So I would say I will go ahead and put a few highlights on there. We have a lot of similar programs to what has already been discussed. So wonderful focus on DEI initiatives, excellent wellness programs for our residents, training programs similar to others that have multiple sites. And we're a major referral center for Northern California with exposure to level 1 trauma and all of the similar things. But as far as the big highlights of things that you can keep in mind for UCSF, the multiple training sites, I think, is a strength for us. We are able to provide our residents with a glimpse of what pediatrics looks like across the spectrum. Having folks rotate in our outpatient hub for primary care, having folks rotate in our children's hospital that has all of the subspecialty care right at that doorstep, and having folks rotate at Zuckerberg San Francisco General, which is our trauma center and a major hub for primary healthcare for folks who have public insurance. And so I think that that's one of the wonderful strengths, and that our residents really come out with a wide range of skills because they've been in a wide range of settings. I'll also highlight that we have wonderful tracks and pathways. So I am a primary care person, and I kind of came out of medical school knowing I was going to be in primary care. But if data informatics is what floats your boat, or learning the genes from the Drosophila fly and how it relates to kids, or whatever it is, if those are the things that inspire you and get you out of bed in the morning, it's wonderful to be in a community with so much varied experience and so much varied passions. And so really, truly, the tracks and programs and pathways are there to help really steer people towards what they want to do. And I will say, since I have 1 minute left, it really feels like an award show where the music is going to start, so it's a little bit of pressure. But I will leave you with one thing, which is that this is a wonderful time in your training and in your path to becoming a physician. And as you meet people and ask questions, just follow your heart and try to find your group of people where you feel the most comfortable, because these are going to be your family over the next 3 years. So good luck to all of you, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Dr. Fernandez, for a wonderful presentation on your program. All right, so that concludes the program overview of the evening. So we'll now transition to the live Q&A portion of the evening. I'll have Sheena start us off with the first question of the Q&A session.
Hi everyone, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box, but if anyone prefers to remain anonymous, feel free to send me or Ria a personal message and we will address your question. Let me pull up the chat. I see a question about if your program has any childcare or any assistance for new parents.
I can start there if it's helpful. So we have one thing that I would advise you to do if you're able to, or if you end up interviewing at UCSF, we do have affinity groups where folks can meet the current residents that may be in the same group. And one of them is our parent affinity group. And so they'll be able to tell you a little bit more about their experience as a parent and a resident. We do have leave for parents that end up having their families expand while they're in residency. We have a new parent elective that many people do when they come back from their parental leave. And so it's certainly something that's very common to our program and something that is very exciting. We also have affiliation with a lot of the childcare hubs that are in the different places in San Francisco through a group called Bright Horizons, and residents and fellows get priority on the wait list for childcare in those institutions. Hopefully that answers your question.
We also, I think very similarly, so I think all of our programs, it sounds like, have paid parental leave, and then there is a training waiver that ABP had come out with about 2 years back for residents who are otherwise doing well in their clinical training who would take elective time off for parental leave. We also have a new parent elective that we try to coordinate for the month after our residents come back for parental leave to kind of help with the transition, but also just different mentorship and coaching with other faculty who have had children recently, just to kind of discuss how that is going, of like being both a doctor in residency while trying to learn how to be a parent at the same time. I don't know if one of our chief residents or some of our chiefs are on as well, if they want to comment, because Shira was on earlier, and she also took some time off for her parental leave.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Shira. I'm one of the pediatric chiefs at Loma Linda, and I'm one of the chiefs who's actually become a new parent this year, during my third year, and now my child is just 7 months old now. And I can attest to our program being very supportive of new parents or any parent really. We're so happy to have families at our wellness events, and we even have scattered refrigerators for breast milk to be stored in various workrooms that our chief or our PD Janice had set up for us. So that's been very kind and very helpful for us as we navigate being a resident and also breastfeeding our child. I have like a group chat going with all the new moms about various changes we've experienced in our personal and work lives. So I can attest to our program being a very family friendly program. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna piggyback on that again. Sorry, I know we're like monopolizing this parent thing. I had a 5-year. I was raising a 5-year-old in residency, and then had a kid in residency, and I can't tell you how many times I had to like sneak my kid into the clinic while I just saw a few patients before I had to leave, and everyone was really supportive, like gave them snacks and coloring books and let them use the computer. And then in the counties that we serve, the public school system actually has a free after school program that doesn't have any qualifications that need to be met. And so my kids live in the after school program because this, as you know, academic medicine is hours that are not always conducive to being around at 11:50 when they get out of kindergarten or 3 o'clock when they get out of middle school. And so our after school programming does go to 6 and is for any kid in a public school system and is fully funded by the state, which is like amazing, and includes snack and homework help and additional tutoring if they need it. And so I'm sure that's not unique to the county, other counties in this district and the state, but I just wanted to highlight what we have here.
Great. Thank you so much for your answers. All right, we have time for one, maybe two more questions. So the next question is, what qualities in the applicant do you look for?
I think I can start, and maybe this is, I honestly would be similar across everyone, is people that are really passionate, excited about pediatrics, and during your interview can really speak to that passion. I also tell people, when it comes to activities, and I think people are bringing up research and other stuff, I think at least what we're looking for is quality over quantity. You don't have to do 500 things. We just really want to see that you've done a couple things and done them really well. You've taken leadership roles in them. You've done them for an extended period of time, and can really speak and reflect on like the impact and what skills you have learned from those experiences. So again, with a lot around the research, and you have to have all these papers. For most general categorical, like you don't have to have some X number of like published papers and all this. Again, if you're applying for like a physician scientist track, that's a very different story. But again, I think really honing in and highlighting key experiences that you have and can really speak to those experiences.
I often talk about, dedication to something outside yourself. Right. And I think, and that could be anything, right? We were talking about it doesn't have to be tied to any one area. Like you have so many different categories of experiences to put in. I'm not going to tell you which category to use, right? What I'm going to tell you is that I think it's most important, like, what do you find most passionate about? Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure out who you are based upon the limited space that you have to kind of put that in the application or in the personal statement. And so be what you're passionate about. Be genuine, right? That genuine kind of interest in something. I love to see that. And I think that speaks volumes of who you are, rather than trying to kind of fit a box that you think we're looking for. I could pick out an applicant that is totally different than my other residents because they have a passion for something that I think would bring something really unique or different to our program, right? So don't shy away from that. I think, bring your authentic self as you can, either to the application or the interview process. I just love that kind of, what are you interested in beyond yourself? Because that's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to talk, care for patients, for children, for families. And I think that passion for something else really speaks to that.
I would second that. And I would also just say we're looking for applicants who are really committed to serving patients and in our program to collaborating and really working as a team. So I wouldn't say, you'll hear that in the West, the best coast, that we are not as hierarchical and not as kind of, you know, this is your place on the team in this order. It's really that we're here to serve our patients and provide good care and take care of each other and learn. And so I think just coming with flexibility and a willingness to dive in and really work together and collaborate is something that we look for a lot in our program. And I would definitely focus on all of those kind of experiences you've had longitudinally that show your passions versus the, you know, one-off activities that you feel like would look better on your application. I would really, there's the chance in the application now to say what experiences are meaningful to you and to really highlight that to us so we can understand what are your passions, like what are you going to bring, what interests you about pediatrics and what things have been meaningful to you. That's really valuable. I think that the new application has allowed applicants to really tell us more about what things actually really mean something to them. And I think you should to dive into that for sure.
I agree. I mean, we are not looking for 100 of the same doctor, right? We are trying to look for 100 very different doctors who have very different skill sets because that is what our community needs. And so we want our residents to kind of build to the best of their ability and their skills. So I think something that's important to recognize as you go into interview season is it's not about like, what can I say so that this program thinks I'm a good fit for them? We just want to know who you are because we want to make sure that our residents work really well together. But at the same time, like you want a program that wants you for you, not who you are pretending to be because you think that's what they want. So if you are yourself, you guys are very amazing applicants. This is how you've made it so far. You're very brilliant, smart students. You would not be here otherwise if not. So just show that to us. That's what we want to see.
Thank you everyone for answering. I feel we are approaching the end of the Q&A session, but we do have time for one more question. And I do see one question that says that, is it strongly encouraged to have a letter of recommendation from a pediatrician in the US, or are other LORs from other physicians of different specialties also okay?
I would say it's helpful to have a pediatrician letter. So I do think that that's pretty standard, and that can be from anywhere. Actually, one of the most powerful letters of recommendation I saw last season was actually from somebody who had been a pediatrician working with this international medical graduate for the last 2 years in their clinic. That spoke volumes about kind of their performance and kind of what that was. So I don't think it has to be US either. I think speaking about kind of pediatrics, I think is helpful. And then I often say this to either our own students or actually to our residents when they apply to fellowship. The three other letters should be just people that know you the best. And that could be from anywhere, right? Like the other letter I remember from last season was somebody had a letter from the director of a nonprofit that they had volunteered at for the last like 3 years. Like that was huge. And so like it doesn't even have to be a doctor, right? I think that's the thing. It's like people that know you well, the work that you're passionate about.
I think there used to be like a misconception, or maybe that was true in the past and is no longer, where your letter writers have to be like very powerful people with really fancy titles and like, you know, the chairs or the like directors of whatever. But we want letters that just tell us about you, your work ethic, your person, like who you are, how you are with your patients, and whoever can speak to that the best is who's going to give you the best letter.
Thank you. Um, hopefully everybody got a chance to learn a bit about what our Western region programs have to offer. I'd like to thank all the program directors, coordinators, and residents who took out the time to be with us tonight. We're just gonna go back to the main room now for some closing statements and some survey links. So I'll see you all there.
Hey everybody, my name is Danielle. Welcome to room 2 of the Western Region Large Programs webinar. As we talked about, myself, I'm Danielle. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from Rush University School of Medicine. And we also have with me a great other assistant webinar. If Victoria would like to introduce herself. Yeah. And then tonight we're going to be talking about some wonderful programs. So each program is going to unmute their representative and then speak about your wonderful programs. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A where everybody can kind of ask their questions. And yeah, sounds good. With the University of Colorado Pediatric Residency Program representative, please unmute yourself and introduce us to your wonderful program.
Yes, I will start. I'm Adam Rosenberg. I'm the program director, and under the gun, I can never fix what's around my name. But my pronouns are he, him. And I'm not going to try and read from this slide so you can read it for yourselves and just highlight some of the aspects of our program that relate to the areas on the slide. As Vasu said, our programs are quite spread out and serve very large areas of the country. We serve a 7-state area that patients come to our hospitals to receive care. One of the features of our program is that we base your training primarily at 2 sites. One is the Children's Hospital Colorado, which serves this 7-state area, has all of the subspecialists you might want to meet, has fellowships in all of those specialties. So for those of you who are interested in specialty training, there's an opportunity to come to start your residency and then continue on in specialty training. That's balanced by the training that you get at Denver Health Medical Center, which is the safety net hospital for the city and county of Denver. It is served by a group of neighborhood health centers where the patients receive their primary care and where some of our residents do their clinic. And those patients, if they need hospitalization or specialty care, go to Denver Health. So the experience is really balanced, both the community experience and a tertiary or quaternary care type experience. Denver Health is a much smaller environment. The senior residents there have a great deal of autonomy. At night, the senior resident is the senior pediatrician in the house, and they have the ability to manage patients on the floor in the PICU and in the NICU, with obviously support available from specialists to come in and help manage the patients. During the week, they round on their own with the team and provides an excellent opportunity to develop their teaching skills. Second thing I'll highlight is that we really focus on individualizing your curriculum. Each resident, after they finish the standard intern year, will receive a mentor or a coach who will help them develop that individualized curriculum as they move through their training, really preparing you for whatever future career you see yourself doing. Probably the major initiative we've had for this year and last year as we started this year with our interns, the transition to a 4+4 X+Y system. We think it is a better curricular opportunity for the residents. In addition, it really is much better for wellness. There's no more stretches of 2 or 3 very difficult months in a row. We alternate the high intensity months with low intensity months. Most of the clinic experiences will be in the low intensity months. We have already started working towards the new requirements and will be fully ready to go with the new requirements that have been released by the ACGME when they go live July of 2025. So all of the subspecialty experiences and everything that'll be necessary to your training will be in place by then. Next year, we'll go to the 4+4 system for all 3 years of the residency. So that's what our current interns will see through their training and what you will see through your training should you choose to come with us. We are, as Vasu pointed out, we serve a very diverse patient population. There are well over 100 languages spoken in the Denver metro community. We have a number of refugee settlements within our area, and these patients use both of our facilities for their care. So there's lots of opportunity. We strive to grow pediatricians and subspecialists that are more representative of our patient population. So trying to recruit every year a diverse group of interns who will hopefully continue with us and serve the community that we serve. I'll, as I said, let you read what's there. The last thing I'll finish with is, a lot of times when I meet with you all in our smaller sessions, when you virtually interview with us, people ask what I am most proud of about our program. We have wonderful hospitals. We have terrific faculty who really live to teach residents. But in the end of the day, the feature that I'm most proud of is our residents. To watch them grow through the 3 years of their training, and as the years go by, watch the wonderful things that they do as they grow into experienced primary care providers, subspecialists, emergency room physicians, providing care both to patients in our region and in other regions. So I will stop with that and let the next person take over.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosenberg, for talking to us about your program. I should have mentioned that there will be a 5-minute timer in the corner of my screen. So for anyone presenting, you can just check the corner of my screen for the 5-minute timer. All
yes,
right.
It's 26 seconds early.
Yes, you were early, which is always good. Sometimes people go over. So, all right. So, our next program is Children's Hospital Los Angeles Pediatric Residency Program. If your representative could unmute and introduce yourself, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'm Joy Marmon. I go by JJ. My pronouns are she, her. I'm one of the associate program directors at CHLA, so I'm representing our program tonight. I will also try to kind of hit on some of the highlights of the slide. I think some important things to know about our hospital. So we're a freestanding children's hospital, very high acuity and high volume. You can see our ED visits there. And another really important part of our mission is that we're a regional safety net hospital. So a very large proportion of our patient population is on Medi-Cal, which is the California version of Medicaid and CHIP, both in the inpatient side in our hospital and our continuity clinic, which is through Altamed, which is one of the largest FQHCs or federally qualified health centers. So our program and our hospital is really committed to serving the underserved, which I think is a really big highlight of our program. We also have a very diverse patient population within the city of LA and as a referral center for a lot of other areas. We have opportunities for different tracks. So we have our advocacy impact track, which has quality improvement, community health, and global health, and then a medical education track, as well as a research track. So lots of opportunities to kind of dive deeper into those things if you're interested. In terms of our curriculum, some things to hit on. We do block scheduling, and we do try to kind of tailor our schedules to resident requests as much as possible. We have a pretty large program, so we're able to be relatively flexible in terms of where things are scheduled. And we do also try to kind of balance the schedule between like more busier months and easier months to try to balance that out. We have integrated rotations on health equity, advocacy, community pediatrics, and we are also working on implementing the ACGME new requirements starting next year. And I think another highlight of our program is we have a lot of electives that are call-free, so without like necessarily cross-covering other teams or other rotations. And so you have those opportunities to either go away to other places, global health electives, or just enjoy your weekends and nights off. We are also really committed to diversity. We have a diversity and inclusion mentorship program for residents and medical students with faculty, and also work really hard to recruit a diverse residency residents to try to match our patient population as well. We also have a bunch of initiatives to help promote wellness in our program. One thing that I think is really wonderful about our program is the kind of family feel that we have. Even though we're a really large program, we have 113 residents right now. A significant portion of them live right across the street in a subsidized housing from our hospital apartment building. And so I think that really helps even for people who don't live in that building. It's really, everyone kind of knows each other and supports each other. And that's really one of the best things I think about our program. And then for anyone who doesn't live there, we also have a housing stipend to kind of offset. We have mental health resources for our trainees. We have, I mean, probably most programs have parties every year, but we provide coverage for those, meal stipends, things like that. And then, you know, we're right kind of in the heart of LA, really close to Griffith Park and the Hollywood Bowl of that, which are highlights, I think, of LA, and you can kind of do anything you want here. I think that's everything. Happy to answer questions later on, but otherwise I'll turn it to the next person.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful talk about Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Next up, we have Phoenix Children's Residency Program Alliance. If your representative or representatives could please unmute and tell us about your wonderful program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Zach Robbins. I'm one of the associate program directors. I think you're going to hear a lot of similar themes. I think that are across the West, the Western region, they're very common for us. We at our program, we have rotations at 3 different hospital systems. Phoenix Children's is the sort of your typical large freestanding children's hospital, the county hospital, which is called Valleywise Health, and also another community hospital where residents spend time. Like everyone else was saying, a very large catchment area, the entire state, plus some of the surrounding states. We have patients that come. Our residents are exposed to level 1 trauma centers. At Valleywise, that's where the state burn center is, and so you're exposed to burn patients there. So large hospital, lots of different kinds of clinics, lots of different exposures at Phoenix Children's. We have a large number of fellowship programs, lots of subspecialties available, so you can have exposure to those throughout your residency. Another sort of highlight, we're the only pediatric ECMO center in the Phoenix area, and also the only organ transplant center in the state for pediatrics. So again, what you see in those hospitals is extremely bread and butter all the way to very complex patients. Again, you're going to hear similar themes, I think. We do have, from a curriculum standpoint, we do have X+Y. We've been doing that. We're now in our 3rd year of that. Does not include any 24-hour shifts. We are also working on implementing the new ACGME guidelines, making whatever changes we need to make to our curriculum. One other highlight, or a couple other highlights for the curriculum, we have a resident longitudinal experience, which is a 1 day a week during your Y week clinic that you get to do, either clinic or work in the area where you're interested in for your career. So for example, if you're interested in community pediatrics, you can be in a community clinic. If you're interested in GI, you can do Peds GI clinic, those sorts of things. Experiences really are all over the place for that, and it's a great chance to really get more experience. We also have a lot of diversity initiatives going on. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them. I see my timer ticking down, so one thing I do want to highlight in that is we have a health equity committee, and they help organize the part of that curriculum, and that runs not only in our block conference, but also different areas in our rotations and other areas. So we like to point out that that's very often that's a resident-driven initiative. Wellness, there's lots of different wellness opportunities. We have retreats for each class, meal stipends, reimbursement to go to research conferences, so you can get those experiences in. Location, Phoenix is a very large city. We have lots of concert venues, lots of professional sports, 3 hours from skiing, 4 hours from the beach. It's very close to everything that you might want. And so I did also want to mention that Valleywise The county hospital system has a very large refugee population, also very diverse, many different languages that you'll be exposed to, different cultures. And so it's a diversity of not only like complexity, but also diversity of patients from all different backgrounds in that as well. If there's I don't know, Katie, is there anything else that I missed? Any other good things to?
I think that was most of it. The only other last thing I want to plug is we do have a couple different tracks that you can also take part of if you're part of our residency. So we do have a global health track, so that allows you to work with our refugee clinic and some of our cultural health navigators to learn a little bit more about those populations. And we do also have some rural rotations if that's something that you're interested in. And then we also do a patient safety, a simulation, and an advocacy track as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, both representatives from Phoenix Children's, for speaking about your wonderful program. Next, we have the University of Washington at Seattle Children's Pediatric Residency Program. If your representative or representatives can please unmute and introduce yourself and your wonderful program. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for having us today. I am Melissa Darden. I am the program director here at the University of Washington, Seattle Children's Pediatric Residency Program. I am going to go over a couple of things on this slide, but I am not going to touch on all these different areas and aspects. I'll leave that for you all to review on your own. A couple of things that I would like to highlight. As many people before us have noted, this is also a standalone children's hospital that has a very large catchment area. It is the major pediatric referral center for what we call the WWAMI region, which encompasses Washington, Wyoming, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho. Our residents have an opportunity to train at a couple different sites to make sure that their training is expansive and varied, one of which is a level 1 pediatric burn and trauma center. They spend time in 2 different NICUs, the one at the University of Washington as well as Seattle Children's Hospital. The UW NICU is more traditional, whereas the Seattle Children's is more a surgical and highly specialized NICU care. There are a number of subspecialty fellowships that are available through the University of Washington. One of the most unique features, I think, of our program is the different training tracks that we offer. So aside from the categorical track, we also have the Alaska Primary Care track, which has won many awards nationally and locally for its curriculum. Our residents in that track spend 4 months out of each year training in Alaska, in either in Anchorage and either Bethel or Fairbanks, Alaska. That is a separate match. There's also the health equity track, which focuses on how to appropriately serve the underserved and marginalized communities. That also has a separate match for it. They spend several months doing didactic training and then usually do a community-based project. We also have research, peds genetics, and peds neurology tracks, all of those being separate matches. One other thing that I would like to point out, which actually isn't on this slide, is another pathway that residents can use to individualize their training, and that's called the REACH pathway. Our residents opt into that, or I should say apply to that during their intern year, and it runs throughout their 2nd and 3rd years. They spend time doing didactic training in coordination and combination with residents from the University of Nairobi. And then during their 3rd year, they do some community and population health, either in rural Washington or in Kenya, which is also a very unique experience. In terms of our curriculum, we are moving to a X+Y, 4+2 to be exact, curriculum next year, and of course, moving to be in compliance with the new ACGME requirements. One of the unique features of the curriculum is a 2-month WWAMI rotation, where our residents go to a primary care site in the WWAMI region and have a large amount of autonomy as they act as a partner in those primary care sites, and really get to learn what it's like to care for patients in communities that are less resourced. As far as wellness goes, there are a number of initiatives and things that are offered through the University of Washington, as well as Seattle Children. Some of those are listed there. Diversity initiatives that I'm really proud of are one, we have a hospital-wide health equity rounds that was actually started by our residents and includes faculty from all over the hospital, but also lots of ancillary staff. And this is another thing that has also won awards at both the local and national level. There are diversity committees, both on the resident side here for just pediatrics, but also throughout all of the University of Washington. There are affinity groups to make sure that everyone feels included. And that's another thing that is very exciting and I think unique about this program is that there is a strong focus on equity and inclusion. And then lastly, I'll end with some location highlights because I think Seattle gets a bad rep for how rainy it is, but actually has less rainfall than many of the popular cities listed here. The outdoor amenities are amazing. And yes, you can be on the beach one day and in the mountains another day. Has a great food and music scene as well. And I will end there with 9 seconds to go.
Thank you, Dr. Darden, for introducing your wonderful program. And next, we're going to have the University of Utah Pediatric Residency Program. If the representative or representatives could please unmute and talk about your program, that'd be great. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. My name is Nick Brockman. I'm one of the current pediatric chiefs for our program. Our program director is Dr. Bruce Herman. I think that everybody in our program would agree that he is our favorite part of our program. He's our biggest advocate. He's our biggest cheerleader. And he really wants the success for everybody. And from a top-down approach, his leadership style leads our entire program to feel like to not feel like a large program, but to have the benefits of a large program with a medium, small program feel. I am not going to read off this slide. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I think are important for you to know about University of Utah. We, being located in Salt Lake City, have the largest catchment area of any pediatric hospital in the country. We get patients from Utah, obviously, but also Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Nevada, and cardiac surgical patients coming from Alaska as well. We are certainly high volume, high acuity program. You would spend your time among three different hospitals, Primary Children's, Salt Lake City, and then we just opened a new hospital about 30 to 40 minutes away, south of Salt Lake City in Lehigh. Also, that is a community hospital through Intermountain, also Primary Children's. And then our labor and delivery, well baby rotations, and our NICU are located at the University of Utah, which is connected to Primary Children's via a sky bridge. We're employed by University of Utah, but we work primarily at the Primary Children's, which is an Intermountain health site. So we are frequently working alongside two different health systems. We currently have two different EMRs, but we're transitioning to Epic exclusively all within the next year. So you would experience just Epic for everything that you're taking part in. We have, as far as our resident demographics, we have about 100 residents in total. Each year has between 23 categorical pediatric residents, and we have a number of combination pediatric neurology, pediatric psychiatry, and pediatric medicine and pediatric genetics that are separate matches, but they are definitely a part of our program as far as a family feel. Interns are all together throughout their first year, and they get all the same experiences before branching off into their combination programs. Our curriculum is X plus, we have an established 3+1 X+Y curriculum. We're not needing to make too many changes in order to accommodate the new ACGME requirements. But we do obviously take feedback each year from our residents and make adjustments as needed, more from a wellness standpoint, to make sure that everybody is having a good experience in our program. We do, as listed on the left-hand side of this slide, have some training tracks that are not required, but I would say that a large majority of our residents take advantage of these opportunities. There's a global health and underserved and rural track, we call it GRETCH, that many residents take part in. They get opportunities for away rotations, both locally on different reservations within our region, but also there are connections that we have globally, such as Tanzania, and then there's other ones that are being established currently. Resident as Teacher is another popular track where we get experience longitudinally, learning how to be medical educators in our field. There is a new ultrasound track. QI is becoming a larger part of our program, and there is a separate training track for that. Advocacy is actually something that we have everybody go through as an intern. We are located in our state's capital. And so we take advocacy very seriously. There's lots of people who take advantage of that. As far as resident wellness, with my last 20 seconds, I just want to comment that there are lots of things that our program does to help benefit our residents outside of work, but I think that there's also lots of work being done to increase the wellness of residents in working conditions as well. As Bruce likes to say, we're a work. And so I'll stop there. I'm happy to answer any questions in the allotted time.
Thank you so much for talking to us about the University of Utah's pediatric program. This concludes the program overview portion of the evening. Now we'll open up the floor to a live Q&A. If anyone prefers to remain anonymous, please feel free to send me a personal message and I'll address the question to the program representatives. Otherwise, you can feel free to also unmute and ask your question. So we'll go from there. Oh, I guess I'll open up the floor with the first question. How and what global health opportunities are available through your programs?
I can start. Or are we just answering in the box? Sorry.
Yeah, you can definitely start.
Sorry.
And
Okay, perfect. So
people have more stuff in the chat. Feel free to respond in the chat too.
Okay, perfect. So at Phoenix Children's, we do have a global health track. So this is something that you apply for at the start of your second year of residency. And within our global health track, you'll be paired with a faculty mentor who will work with you and not only looking at kind of like community opportunities to broaden that, but then also to arrange opportunities for your third year to go to an elective to a site. So I know last year we had a resident who went to Zimbabwe, and then we had another resident who also went to Ghana as well for their global health projects.
I'll add, it sounds kind of similar. We also have a global health track within our impact track, and that you apply for like after matching here, and then you're in it through the 3 years and are able to do global health electives your second and third year to go to whatever site you are doing your project on. So our residents have gone lots of different places. I'm trying to think off the top of Vietnam, Uzbekistan. I'm blanking on other places, but you can kind of go anywhere that you work on a project, as long as you work with a mentor and things like that.
Hi, I'm so sorry I actually didn't get a chance to introduce myself. My name is Jordan Weisler. I'm one of the rising chiefs at University of Colorado. For our global health program, like many other programs, we also have a track where they meet very frequently throughout the years within the track to discuss different opportunities. And then at the end of, or in your third year and in your second year, you can go to a global health rotation a lot. We have a very well-established program in Guatemala. And then you can also go to other rural rotations. A lot of people go to Durango as well as Alaska. And alongside those away rotations, you can also do a lot of different clinics, like our adoption clinic, our CHIP clinic, which is our HIV clinic. And then we do have a refugee clinic as well at Denver Health.
I would just like to add to Jordan's point that residents do not have to be part of the pathway or track to participate in global health rotations. Many of our residents have previously rotated in Guatemala without being formally in the track.
All right, excellent. Sounds like there's a lot more information probably on the website, everyone's websites too, about the global health programs. Something that I know is on everyone's mind, advice on letters of recommendation from other specialties in addition to pediatrics. How do you view all pediatric letters, or do you just want one is okay with other letters?
I think the most important thing across the board is, just having letters that can speak to your character and to your ability to be, a future resident. And I think it's always great to have pediatric letters, but if there's a rotation outside of pediatrics where you really showcased your personality, your care for others, I think that says a lot about you. I think it says more if the letter writer can speak to who you are as a human and as a person, and that'll show through in your letters.
Yeah, I agree with that. For us, it doesn't have to be pediatrics. It's always nice to have pediatric letters, but what we're looking for out of it is who you are, what sort of character you have, and the people who can speak the most of that are gonna give you help you to help us to see who you are in that application.
Okay, we can move into one of our other questions in the chat. What is the most important thing you can see on someone's application that helps you kind of select a candidate for an interview? If anyone would like to speak on that.
I can say oh, sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
We do holistic reviews, so we really look at every part of everyone's applications. We don't have like score cutoffs or things that like automatically take you out of contention. We really review everyone. And so I don't think there's like one specific thing on your application. I think one thing we do look for is like some kind of that you're like passionate about something, and it doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't really matter what that is, but that it like kind of shines through, through your personal statement, your activities, that there is something that you're passionate about and you're able to like show us that on your application, I think is always something that we're looking for. I will also say, as like a safety net hospital, we definitely are looking for residents who are committed to serving the underserved. That's another important thing for our program.
Yeah, I would echo that same sentiment. I think quality is more important than quantity. We also use holistic reviews, but I think that as far as experiences goes, to show that you are passionate about something, you really dedicated your time to something, and maybe we're able to show some growth. So participating in an organization and showing that, you were able to rise to leadership, those types of things are important aspects of the application. It's not just about sort of filling up the application with one-offs that you may or may not have actually truly committed yourself to. So quality over quantity.
That's definitely useful advice. I know for the experience section of the application. Going into another question we have in the chat that might be on many people's minds, how do your residency programs view IMG applicants? Someone also was asking, like, do the programs take us serious? Are they going to take me seriously when I'm applying? If you can speak on that.
Yeah, at Phoenix Children's, we do, again, like any other applicant, we're going to do a full holistic review of your chart, look at everything there to see how you may or may not fit into our program. And same thing, you know, we're looking for passion, we're looking for leadership, we're looking for all of those things that were already mentioned. But we look at you as part of, or we're looking at the whole picture, not just one specific thing.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. We do holistic review of our IMG applicants also. I think we do look to see that you have some clinical experience in the US, and typically within the past like year or so, just to help. I think it helps with the transition to a new residency program if you have some experience like in the US healthcare system recently, but that's only that would be the main difference I think that we look for, or extra thing, I would say.
And at Colorado, we do welcome and accept international applicants. We have designated recruitment committee members that review each and every single one applications, regardless of your status, to make sure that we do provide a holistic review. So if anyone has any questions, I'm also happy to connect you with some of our current residents as well.
Excellent. Thank you all for giving us your points on that. Another question in the chat, since we are speaking about larger programs here, how do your residents feel about having one-on-one time with attendings?
I would love to answer this question. My name's Solara. I'm one of the executive residents at UW Seattle Children's. I just finished residency. I would say even though we're a large program, I didn't feel like that was at all a barrier to my ability to make really strong connections with attendings, many of whom have mentored me and are continuing to mentor me. As a senior resident, these attendings, you're working very closely with attendings with leading rounds and teaching your junior trainees. And we also have a pod structure based on Wales, because Pacific Northwest, that's kind of a social grouping. So every resident is paired with an executive resident, an APD, and a clinical coach that follows them throughout residency to be another level of mentorship. So I don't think that the large program should prevent you from making meaningful connections with your leadership.
I think that you'll find that there's a pattern in the Western region that there's less of a hierarchy within the medical system, and attendings all the way down to medical students are often brought to the same playing field as far as we have a mutual respect for each other. Specifically at University of Utah, the only experience that I have to speak about, there is definitely, you know, I have personal relationships with all of my attendings. I call them by their first name. They give me their cell phone numbers, and they trust me to take care of their patients. And they know that if I have questions, I'll reach out to them. And they offer appropriate supervision when necessary, but they also allow for autonomy when you get more senior in the program as well. And so I think that that's a really unique thing that I've really enjoyed at our program.
Excellent. Thank you all again for answering one of our questions from the chat. Another question, how will programs be utilizing, or how do they take into account geographic area preference? If I'm not from the West Coast, how can I, put my best foot forward to show that I want to be there, etc.?
At Colorado, we definitely don't just accept applicants from the West. I'm actually from the East Coast. I'm from Florida. I did all my training on the East Coast, undergrad and medical school. And I think really the most important thing is just showing interest in the program. And Colorado was the top of my list, and I showed a lot of interest. I didn't have to do an away rotation either, but I think it's a great idea to do an away rotation if you want to learn about any program, just so that you can really be there to learn about it. But we definitely accept applicants from all across the country. We are not limited to those that are just from Colorado or the Western area of the country.
Yeah, I'll second that. I'm also from the East Coast and moved here for residency. And definitely we have a lot of our residents do have some connection to the Los Angeles area, but a lot of our residents have like zero connection to the Los Angeles area before coming for residency. So it's a really good mix. And our philosophy is like, if you're applying to our program, we take that as you're interested in our program, and it really doesn't matter where you're from. We look at your application the same. So.
Excellent. I think we have time for one more question, and then we're going to be heading back into the main room. So one is, are there any opportunities for advocacy at your program?
At Colorado, we have our own advocacy rotation, which you do in your first year, and in that rotation, you are working with and attending the whole month on a advocacy project, actually, which is a really great initial exposure if you've never been exposed to any advocacy work. And then we also have an advocacy track. It's called our See You Heal program, which if you do match at Colorado, you do have to apply for, but it's the 3 years that you're in residency, and you work with specific attendings. Dr. Brandy Friedman's our current See You Heal director, and you work on a project all 3 years. And it's the same project, and there's a lot of mentorship in that. And we have some really wonderful advocates in our program who also are individuals who are often testifying for different bills to be passed. And so we're really proud of them, and really proud of our program.
Well, it seems as if our breakout room is closing, so we're going to head back to the main room for the end of our session. I hope everyone got the chance to learn a little bit more about what Western programs have to offer, the large Western. We want to repeat how grateful we are to everybody for attending, the program directors, residents, coordinators, other representatives who took time to join us. Thanks, everybody, and make sure you head back to the main room.
All right, well, I just want to first thank everyone for being here. Program directors, assistant program directors, program coordinators, we do appreciate your time so much and realize that your schedules are so busy. So it is truly an honor for us to have you and host you at this webinar. And I want to thank all of the participants who have joined us as well. These webinars are for you, so we really do appreciate you being here and engaging with the different programs that have taken the time to be here. If you are still interested in joining us for learning about some large programs from all over the country, we do have 3 more large program webinars coming up. We are rounding out our webinar series with the Midwest, Southern, and Northeast large programs. And if you are still with us by the end of our webinar series, we do have a final webinar on October 7th about navigating interviews. So we're going to wrap up these regional program webinars, give you a little bit of a break, and then bring you back October 7th once right before interviews invitations are sent out. So please join us for that. You can scan the QR link or the QR code at the bottom of the screen here. That's a one-time registration link, and you can click all of the future webinars that you are interested in. And then this QR code is for both program directors and for participants this evening. If you have any feedback for us on how we can make these webinars more better for you or more accessible, please let us know. Again, program directors, we do appreciate you being here. And if from our end we can improve, please, we would really like to know so that we continue to have you join for these, because we do appreciate your time so much. And with that, I will leave you for the evening. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out via email or Instagram. But otherwise, this will be uploaded to the YouTube in the next few days, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks everyone for being here so much.